Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. It's 6 months from now. Same mirror, same world, but a completely different version of you is standing there. Stronger, sharper, calmer, dangerous in a quiet way. Now here's the real question. How did that person get there while most people stayed exactly the same? That's the mystery we're about to break open. Because the truth is, success doesn't arrive with fireworks or motivation quotes. It arrives silently through decisions nobody claps for. Most people waste years hoping life will change, but if you understand something powerful, 6 months of ruthless focus can rewrite your entire future. Tonight, I'm not here to inspire you for 5 minutes. I'm here to make you uncomfortable enough to move. Because once you hear this, you won't be able to unsee how small your excuses have been and how massive your potential really is. 6 months is not a number on a wall calendar. It's not January to June or July to December. 6 months is a battlefield, and the moment you decide to take it seriously, the fight begins. Most people look at 6 months and think it's too short to matter. They tell themselves nothing big can change in that time. That lie is what keeps them average. The truth is, 6 months of focused pressure can do more than years of half-hearted effort. In 6 months, you can break habits that controlled you for decades, build strength you never believed you had, and create momentum that changes the direction of your entire life. A battlefield is not comfortable, and neither is real progress. When you step into these 6 months with intention, you will feel resistance immediately. Your mind will push back. Your body will complain. Your routine will feel unfamiliar and heavy. That's because growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in conflict. Every morning you wake up early instead of sleeping in, you win a small fight. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you gain ground. These daily battles don't look heroic, but they decide the war. On a battlefield, there is no room for confusion or excuses. You can't negotiate with fear when pressure is on. 6 months demands clarity. You must know what you're fighting for and what you're willing to give up. Comfort becomes the enemy. Distractions become traps. Old habits become opponents that know your weaknesses well. They will try to pull you back with familiar voices. Just rest today. You can start tomorrow. You've already done enough. If you listen to those voices, you lose territory. If you confront them and move forward anyway, you become stronger. The reason most people fail in 6-month plans is because they treat time like a suggestion, not a command. They think showing up occasionally is enough. On a battlefield, inconsistency gets you defeated. Discipline is your armor. Routine is your weapon. Repetition is your strategy. You don't need motivation every day. You need standards that don't change based on mood. Some days you will feel powerful. Other days you will feel empty. The battlefield doesn't care how you feel. The work must be done regardless. 6 months also tests your patience. Results don't arrive on day 10 or even day 30. Progress is quiet at first. Your body may hurt before it looks better. Your efforts may feel invisible before they become obvious. This is where many retreat, thinking nothing is happening. But on a battlefield, victories are often happening beneath the surface. Strength is building. Endurance is forming. Confidence is slowly replacing doubt. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean the war isn't being won. Another truth about a battlefield is that it exposes weakness honestly. You can't hide from yourself for 6 focused months. Your discipline, your consistency, your excuses, all of it comes into the open. That's painful, but it's also powerful. Once you see your weak points clearly, you can train them. You stop pretending and start improving. This honesty is what separates transformation from temporary motivation. 6 months as a battlefield also means there is an end, but not a finish line. When the 6 months are over, you don't just walk away unchanged. You walk away different, mentally tougher, physically stronger, emotionally steadier. You gain respect for yourself because you didn't quit when it was uncomfortable. That self-respect becomes the foundation for bigger goals. Winning this 6-month battle teaches you that time is not your enemy. Lack of commitment is. In the end, 6 months will pass whether you fight or not. The question is what condition you'll be in when it's over. Will you be wounded by regret or strengthened by discipline? Treat these months like a battlefield. Show up every day, fight your habits, control your actions, and refuse to retreat. Do that, and 6 months won't just change your schedule, they will change who you are. Killing the old version of yourself doesn't mean destroying who you are at the core. It means ending the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that keep you trapped in the same place year after year. The old version of you is comfortable with excuses. It knows how to survive, but not how to grow. It chooses what feels good now instead of what builds power later. And if you don't make a conscious decision to end that version, it will quietly sabotage every plan you make for your future. The old version of you is familiar, and that's what makes it dangerous. It knows your patterns. It knows when you usually quit, when you usually delay, when you usually settle. It speaks in a soft, convincing voice. It doesn't say, be weak. It says, you deserve rest. It doesn't say, give up. It says, just take today off. Over time, those small decisions pile up, and suddenly months pass with nothing changed. Killing the old version means recognizing that voice and refusing to obey it. This process is uncomfortable because the old version of you is tied to your identity. You've told yourself stories about who you are. I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at discipline. I always start but never finish. These stories feel true because you repeated them for years. But they're not facts, they're habits of thought. To grow, you must challenge them daily with action. Every time you do something that contradicts the old story, its grip weakens. Letting go of the old version also means letting go of certain comforts. Some relationships may no longer fit the person you're becoming. Some routines may no longer serve your goals. This doesn't mean hating your past or resenting people. It means understanding that growth requires change, and change requires separation. You can't build a disciplined future while clinging to a careless past. Something has to be sacrificed, and often that something is familiarity. The old version of you avoids responsibility. It waits for motivation, for perfect timing, for external validation. The new version understands that responsibility is power. When you take full ownership of your actions, your failures, and your results, excuses lose their strength. You stop blaming circumstances and start controlling your responses. This shift is where real confidence is born. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty. Killing the old version also means accepting pain as part of the process. The old you ran from discomfort. The new you understands that discomfort is a signal of growth. Waking up early when your body wants sleep, training when you feel weak, staying focused when distractions are tempting. These moments feel small, but they are acts of rebellion against the old identity. Each one is a cut that weakens the past version and strengthens the future one. There will be moments when you feel lost between who you were and who you're becoming. That space can feel lonely and confusing. You no longer fully identify with your old habits, but the new habits don't feel natural yet. This is a critical phase. Most people run back to what's familiar here. You must stay. You must endure the discomfort of transition. That's where identity changes are locked in. Over time, you'll notice something powerful. Decisions become easier. Discipline feels less forced. The old urges still appear, but they no longer control you. You begin to respect yourself more because you keep promises to yourself. That self-respect changes how you walk, how you speak, how you show up in the world. You don't need to announce your transformation. People feel it. In the end, killing the old version of yourself is an act of self-respect. It's choosing growth over comfort, truth over excuses, and discipline over impulse. You're not becoming someone new. You're uncovering who you were meant to be before fear and habits got in the way. And once the old version is gone, there's no desire to go back because you finally understand what it means to move forward with purpose. Most people wait for motivation before they act, and that is exactly why they stay stuck. Motivation is emotional. It rises when things feel exciting and disappears the moment life becomes heavy. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel when you wake up. It doesn't ask if you're inspired or tired or frustrated. Discipline shows up because it's a rule, not a feeling. That's why daily discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation is loud in the beginning. It makes promises. It fills you with energy and confidence. You tell yourself this time will be different. You feel unstoppable for a few days. Then reality hits. The alarm goes off early. Your body feels sore. Progress feels slow. Suddenly motivation goes quiet. When motivation leaves and there's no discipline underneath, everything collapses. That cycle repeats for most people their entire lives. Daily discipline is quiet. It doesn't give speeches. It doesn't need excitement. It's built through small, repeated actions done even when you don't want to do them. It's waking up at the same time every day. It's doing the work even when nobody notices. It's sticking to the plan even when results aren't visible yet. Over time, these boring actions create extraordinary outcomes. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates freedom. When your day is built on rules instead of moods, your mind becomes calmer. You stop wasting energy deciding whether to act. You already decided yesterday. This removes inner conflict. You don't argue with yourself anymore. You just execute. That mental clarity is a form of power most people never experience. Daily discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Every time you break one, it shrinks. Motivation doesn't build trust because it's unreliable. Discipline does because it's consistent. Over weeks and months, this self-trust changes how you see yourself. You no longer identify as someone who tries. You become someone who does. Another truth about discipline is that it creates momentum. Action leads to confidence, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel confident before working. You work and confidence follows. The first few weeks of discipline feel heavy because you're carrying resistance. But once momentum builds, the same actions feel lighter. What once felt impossible becomes normal. That's transformation. People often misunderstand discipline as punishment. It's not. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's protecting your future self from the consequences of short-term pleasure. When you train your body consistently, you're telling yourself that your health matters. When you work on your skills daily, you're telling yourself that your potential matters. That message compounds over time. Daily discipline also prepares you for hard days. Motivation disappears exactly when life gets tough. Discipline keeps you moving when stress hits, when emotions are high, when conditions are not ideal. This is why disciplined people are resilient. They don't break when things go wrong because their habits don't depend on perfect circumstances. There will be days when discipline feels like a burden. Days when everything in you wants to quit or slow down. Those days matter the most. Doing the work on easy days doesn't separate you from anyone. Doing it on hard days does. Each hard day completed adds strength to your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit under pressure. In the long run, motivation may start the journey, but it will never finish it. Discipline is what carries you through the middle, through the boredom, through the pain, and through the doubt. If you build daily discipline, you no longer need to chase motivation. You become reliable. And reliability is what creates real success. Pain is not a mistake in the process of growth. Pain is the process. Every meaningful transformation demands it. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling comfort, not truth. The reason most people never change is not because they lack potential, but because they refuse to pay the price. They want results without discomfort, progress without struggle, strength without sacrifice. But life doesn't work that way. Pain is the currency required for transformation, and if you're not willing to spend it, you stay exactly where you are. From the moment you decide to change, pain shows up. Your body resists new routines. Your mind resists new standards. Old habits fight to survive. This resistance feels uncomfortable, frustrating, sometimes even frightening. Many people take this feeling as a sign to stop. In reality, it's a sign you've started. Pain is not a warning. It's confirmation that something inside you is being challenged. There are two types of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. One hurts temporarily and builds strength. The other hurts quietly and lasts for years. Most people avoid the first and end up living with the second. They avoid early mornings, hard conversations, and physical effort, only to suffer later through self-doubt, missed opportunities, and unfulfilled potential. Transformation requires choosing the pain that makes you better. Pain also strips away illusion. When you're comfortable, it's easy to lie to yourself. You can pretend you're trying. You can blame circumstances. You can delay responsibility. Pain removes those lies. When you're exhausted, under pressure, and uncomfortable, the truth comes out. You see how disciplined you really are. You see how strong your commitment actually is. That honesty is painful, but it's necessary. You can't fix what you refuse to see. Growth pain also reshapes your identity. The first time you push through discomfort, it feels unnatural. The second time, it feels difficult. The third time, it feels familiar. Over time, what once scared you becomes routine. This is how limits are broken, not in one dramatic moment, but through repeated exposure to discomfort. Pain expands your tolerance, and expanded tolerance creates capability. Many people misunderstand pain as something to be eliminated. They chase comfort, ease, and shortcuts. But comfort is dangerous. Comfort makes you soft, distracted, and reactive. Pain, when chosen intentionally, sharpens you. It teaches focus. It teaches humility. It teaches respect for effort. Pain forces you to slow down mentally and pay attention to what matters. There will be moments when pain makes you question yourself. When your body is tired, when progress feels slow, when doubt gets loud. These moments are not obstacles, they are tests. They test whether your commitment is real or just emotional. Anyone can feel motivated when things are easy. Transformation belongs to those who stay when it's hard. Pain also builds a quiet confidence that nothing else can. Not praise, not likes, not external validation. The confidence that comes from knowing you didn't quit when it hurt is different. It's deep, it's stable. It doesn't disappear when circumstances change. You trust yourself because you've proven something to yourself under pressure. Eventually, your relationship with pain changes. You stop fearing it. You stop running from it. You begin to see it as a teacher. Pain teaches you where you're weak so you can grow stronger. It teaches patience. It teaches discipline. It teaches resilience. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to shape you. Transformation is not comfortable, quick, or easy. It is earned through sweat, sacrifice, and struggle. Pain is the gatekeeper that decides who moves forward and who stays behind. If you're feeling pain in your journey, don't panic. Don't retreat. Lean in. Because on the other side of that pain is a version of you that is stronger, sharper, and finally free from the limits that once held you back. Finishing violently strong is a mindset most people never develop. They start with energy, excitement, and big promises, but as time passes, their intensity fades. The beginning feels powerful because motivation is high, but the end is where character is revealed. Anyone can start. Very few can finish with the same hunger, the same discipline, and the same focus. That's why finishing strong isn't just important, it's everything. As time moves forward, fatigue sets in. The body gets tired. The mind gets bored. Progress feels slower than it did at the beginning. This is where most people ease off the pressure. They tell themselves they've already done enough. They relax their standards. They slow down. But this is exactly the moment that separates average from exceptional. Finishing violently strong means refusing to coast when your instincts tell you to rest. It means pushing hardest when comfort tries to pull you back. The final stretch is dangerous because success starts to feel close. When people sense the finish line, they mentally check out. They think the work is almost done, so the intensity drops. But real winners understand something different. The final phase demands more focus, not less. This is when mistakes are costly. This is when discipline must be sharpest. This is when effort must be clean and intentional. Finishing violently strong is about maintaining pressure when no one is watching anymore. Early on, people might support you, encourage you, even praise you. Near the end, it gets quiet. The novelty is gone. There's no applause for consistency. This silence tests you. Do you still show up when there's no recognition? Do you still work when nobody is impressed? That's where true strength is built. There is also fear near the end. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change. Finishing strong means facing that fear directly instead of slowing down to avoid it. Some people sabotage themselves at the finish line because the unknown feels uncomfortable. Staying where they are feels safer than stepping into a new identity. Finishing violently strong means refusing to retreat into familiarity. The final phase is also where standards matter most. Small compromises feel harmless, but they add up quickly. Skipping a workout, cutting corners on effort, letting focus slip, these decisions weaken momentum. Finishing strong requires protecting your routines with intensity. You don't negotiate with yourself. You don't lower expectations. You tighten them. When you finish violently strong, the impact lasts longer than the result itself. You carry a deep sense of pride because you know you didn't let off the gas. That pride builds confidence that transfers into every area of your life. You trust yourself more. You approach future challenges with certainty because you've proven you can endure until the end. Finishing strong also sends a message to your subconscious. It teaches your mind that quitting is not an option when things get hard or boring. That lesson becomes part of your identity. Over time, you become someone who finishes what they start. That reputation, even if only you know it, is powerful. In the end, the difference between people who change their lives and people who repeat the same year over and over is not intelligence or talent. It's how they finish. Starting is easy. Ending with force, discipline, and clarity is rare. Finish violently strong and you don't just complete the journey. You redefine who you are when it matters most. 6 months from now, there will be no excuses left, only evidence. Evidence of discipline or evidence of delay. evidence of growth or evidence of regret. Time will move forward whether you commit or not, and it will expose the truth of your choices without mercy. The future doesn't listen to promises. It only responds to action repeated daily. This is your moment to decide who you are willing to become. Not in words, not in motivation, in behavior and sacrifice, in showing up when it's uncomfortable and staying when it's hard. You now understand that change isn't complicated, but it is demanding. It demands pain. It demands discipline. It demands the courage to let go of the old version of yourself. If you walk away from this and do nothing, life will stay the same. The same routines, the same limits, the same quiet frustration. But if you commit, truly commit, these next 6 months can build a version of you that doesn't beg for confidence, doesn't rely on motivation, and doesn't break under pressure. Decide today. Draw a line. Step forward without looking back. Because the world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. And the version of you that finishes violently strong will never need permission to win.